to me. Okay, adding this gives me a bunch of fields to populate. So a variant title, which would be a color in this case. So I'm going to choose matte black. A variant ID. So this comes directly from Shopify. I've got one pre-copied. I did have one pre-copied. I'll steal the Gregory one. Just because I don't actually have access to your Shopify instance properly, and I'd have to go and look it up. It'd be painful. So I'm just going to use one from Gregory for now. But this would have to line up with a product that is populated in Shopify. Color, as I mentioned, so if you created your color taxonomy already, it is now populated into this dropdown. So in our case, I'm going to choose matte black because that matches the Shopify product that I've just picked. And then it comes to the images. So this is the sort of main image gallery at the top of the product page, which should go back to the product page. So these images here. So I'm going to actually use the Gregory images again, so it makes sense in the context of the page that I'm adding. So when it comes to images as well, if the images have already been uploaded to the website, it should be available in this library down here. Otherwise, you can just add your own images. I will show actually if I add my own image, how that looks. So you get to name it, which might clash with some we've already got in there. You get some alternate text again, which can be almost identical to the name. It's for screen readers and people who can't see the website, so you're using it for a different sort of form. Tags is for searching, but it's not too relevant at this point, especially for media. So if you add your own, it's already pre-selected, so I can just insert it. So there's my first variant image, and I can go ahead and add more. So I've got, keep going for Gregory's. I believe your formatting that you usually would do is to go side, then angle. So we're quite loose on which images you add where. It's up for the editor to decide, so you can actually drag and drop and move these around. But speaking to Karen and the team, it seems quite common that you would follow the same pattern of front, side, angle. So that's up to the editor to control, and then you can add more. So in a couple of cases, we've got lifestyle images going on, and you can just keep adding more images if you want. So there is one product variant. We've got a checkbox down here for virtual try-on, which is a feature we're still working on a little bit. But ultimately, that's to show you virtual try-on buttons on the shop page, on the product page. That's currently not functioning. So I could go ahead and add another variant for another color, and it just simply adds to this list. If I come back to this product in the future, these won't all be expanded, but they shrunk down like this, so it's quite easy to add new ones and carry on. Jumping over, so text categories, we showed these in the taxonomy. We created categories, so I've got the previous ones we made, and then test category. This is mainly for search purposes, so it's in the search interface, and things coming up in the future updates will have more relevance to categories. Description is a basic product description. I believe recent updates, we actually have not shown this on, we don't show the description on the front end anymore, because it used to sit down here. But with updates to the product features area, this area was removed from the page. So description currently is unused. Teaser, a bit of an awkward one because we only use it in one place, but teasers are actually this version of our product. So inside a product, you can pick a reference another product and it will look like this, and all this text, the description, it comes from this teaser section. You pick an image, you type out a description, and that's how you do that. So I'm just going to pick the basic front image, but it depends on the use case. Stylist notes is, again, another tab in here. So stylist notes is this field. We've got a piece of text and an image that can go there, as well as the name of the stylist. So self and a little bit of content in there, and pick a, go find a non-glasses frame image. So that one will do. What's included section. So again, this is this section down here. So populating content for what's included, you've got your product features that we created before again. So you pick which product features. There's actually a couple of use cases here. So I'll start with the text. So what's included text is simply some text that sits up here, I believe. Unless I'm not getting mixed up there. Product features. So we created the terms for product features before. So happiness guarantee is one, for example. I created a test feature. So you can start typing in the title of a feature and it will autocomplete as shown there. So happiness guarantee, is it free UK shipping? There's various terms there. And it's the exact same thing down here. So it actually picks from the same list, the same taxonomy list down here, but there's a couple of different use cases. So highlighted ones are determined by, are defined as these ones up here. So these are highlighted right at the top of the product page. You can only choose from 3. So you pick your 3 main ones that you put up here. That's these highlight product features. So I will pick one of those, free UK shipping test feature. Other product features are shown down here in this blue section. So we've got prescription lenses, lens coins, all this stuff. So I can start picking them. UK shipping, happiness guarantee, pick a couple there. Additional product features, I think we did get rid of this from the product page template now. So we did have actually another place that showed product features that you could pick from, which was under here. And we have since removed that because it felt like it was a bit too much. So we've not removed the field, but there was a field there. We didn't remove the field because there's already some content with it and it wouldn't let us remove it basically. The what's included image is simply the right-hand side image here. So I'm just going to throw a random image that probably won't look good in there, but pick a banner image for now. Get to know is this little bit here. So it's essentially just a text field. We've got the heading is pre-made from the get to know and the title of the product. And then you can fill in the content here. Do that for now. Cross-sell. So this is where you would pick other products to reference in this section. So you've got clip-on, optical, accessory. They're the currently defined ones that we've got. And the fields relate to that. So we've got clip-on heading, and you would start typing a product name in, and you can pick from it in a list. Optical, so Gregory. So we've got folding clip-on, Gregory's, and a accessory is, do we have any cases? I'll pick a gift card for now, but that would be your cleaning cloth, your glasses case, something like that. And if it's personalized to this product, you can pick one that's for this product. Otherwise, you can just pick a generic case or anything like that. Size information is, again, similar sort of thing. We've got the frame fit section here. So we've got sizes and these imagery here. So we have a frame size, which I believe is the title. Yeah, so like the fields are a bit, I think they could do a description, to be honest, actually, because I'm confused right now, but this would be the sort of frame size titling. This would be the sort of flavor text underneath it, and then you've got the actual sizes itself. So 20 millimeters even. I don't know the actual sizes, so ignore me if these are absolute trash. And then you've got the icons that are shown up here, so you can upload those. I'll be able to find the right ones. Yeah, I can. So we've got eye size, bridge size. So this is a case where you probably would want to reuse the same images quite often. I believe we do have an updated version of these images to upload. But yeah, you can have custom images there per product, because I think in some cases we've spoke about these icons actually being the pair of glasses that you're working on rather than just generic ones. Related products, don't know if any are populated here yet. So related products right at the bottom here, we have some other frames you might like. We'll populate that as an editor, so you can choose what heading is above it and then which products are shown. So Gregory, Adam and Anderson. Just pick some products that we've got there. So these are test products we've already got on the site. Final tab is product settings. So we've got these are more related to the sort of the Shopify and the sort of buy button and how that functions. So these changes quite a bit per product. So this section up here, we have price includes text, which is simply the piece of text next to the price here. So it includes prescription lenses. That'd be a good one to use. Product caption. At the moment, we've got on this one dummy text, just a piece of text that sits underneath that. It can be anything you want. Add to cart form type. So this is depending on what product you're adding. So if you're adding a pair of prescription glasses, you want to pick variant color with prescription to give you the options that we need to actually be able to buy that product. If it's just a set of colors and it's not a prescription pair, so sunglasses quite often would be like this, we can just pick variant color and that gives you your color picker, as we see up here, or it will get rid of the drop to cart button in that case. The other one's variant title would be used for something like a gift card, because you can then have the sort of the names of all these variants that you created up here as just a drop down, and that is it. You get rid of the color picker. For gift card, that doesn't make sense to have a color picker, so you've just got a drop down instead. And then refresh drop downs were for refresh products, so they have a very special sort of set of fields to use. And these drop downs are, I don't know if we actually have a product to reference for that, but yeah, they're quite custom in refresh drop downs. In the future, some updates that I'm looking at right now, we're going to add another option here for sunglasses with prescription, because they have a couple of different custom fields. And then you can have your variant drop down label, which mainly applies to the title drop down. So on a gift card, you can select your amount or something like that. But some of these values are all defaulted, as you saw. I didn't fill all of them in, but so for now we've got variant color swatches, which will do, and I will save this product.
So the one for gift card, Jake, like, yeah, if we added, we basically set like the different price points as a variant and then select like variant only from that list. And that would give us like the price drop down, is that right?
Yeah, it would. So you would have multiple variants of a different amount. I'll go show you a gift card after this, but
okay. I think we'll have a think and make sure that the ones we've got for the add to cart drop down, I know you still need to add the prescription, non-prescription one for Sunny, so we'll go away and just confirm that that captures everything. But I think it probably does once we've got the sunglass one.
Yeah. So this is the product I've just created. All the fields I filled in, generated onto this page. Obviously, like I said, color pick, I've only added one color at the moment, so there's not more. And I didn't pick a prescription product, so it's not got the prescription drop downs in there. But that's up to the editor to which product they're actually adding for all of that. So
can I just? Sorry, Jake.
Yeah,
can I have a question? Sorry guys. Jake, on the related products, when a product is either out of stock or removed, will that pull through, or do we have to then go on and manually remove that?
In Shopify, if it's out of stock, you will not be able to buy it. So what we do in terms of code on this page is we do a lookup to Shopify to see what products you have available. And this buy button will either not be present or will not be something you can actually click on. It will be disabled if it's not in stock. If it's removed from Shopify, we won't show a buy button, and we won't show a price either, because we don't have a price if that's not in Shopify. Everything else will still nicely show and be presentable, so you can have products that are purely for presentation than online products. But yeah.
Okay, and then, sorry, start, but within a product that is in stock, within your related products that you showed us we manually input, if one of them is removed or out of stock, will that remove itself from this section?
No. So an editor who picks these products, if these products are populated on the website, they will show up here. If you've removed them from this website, they will not show up here. They won't be able to be shown up here.
Okay,
So if I were to go to Adam and delete the product Adam, this would just simply get rid of the Adam product and it just show the two. For the editor himself, if you were to come in here, I think you would see a reference to this is no longer a real product in here, but it won't print anything to the front end.
okay, and then for out of stock, then it removes the button, removes the price, but it will still be accessible. So if we would need like a back in stock plugin, and then that would appear so at the minute on our current site, we have like a back in stock that appears like a button, email, type in your email to sign up for when it's back in stock. So we need that as like a plugin, and then that would appear on the page. Without that, it removes.
Yeah, so currently we don't have that behavior. Like I said, I think the add to cart button would simply be disabled, but we'd have the price, we'd have all the information that you filled in. It wouldn't affect this at all. It'd only affect up here on an actual product page.
Okay,
Whether it's stock or not.
is a back in stock app something that we can apply?
You can use it in the content itself, but we don't have a Shopify way of populating that currently. So no, it's something to look for, to go forward with. We could actually implement some out of stock behavior that's more specific, but that would be some code work from our side. Actually, it does lead quite nicely on to some of the other stuff I was going to quickly go on, which is what is CMS versus what is in code. So ultimately, it's kind of an amalgamation up here, but the price is code that comes from Shopify based on the variant ID that you've populated. The add to cart button and the wishlist button are in code, so these automatically apply to all products. If it's found in Shopify, an add to cart button will be shown. If it's not, it won't be. But everything else up here is ultimately content. So you've got the title, you've got your included text, your description thing there, the color picker, and obviously this could be a drop down for gift card and things like that. Which actually, if I do go to a gift card, just show that you've got different ways of having products on your site. So you've got select your gift card amount and then different variants here, and actually go in and edit one of these. You can see how they've done that. So it's product variants, £30 IOLLA gift card, £65 IOLLA gift card, and £125 IOLLA gift card. One slight annoyance of it is that the images are per variant. So you would have to upload the image or pick the image at least in each variant. But that's just a downside of the way we've done these variants. But you won't have to upload them again. You can just pick them from the library over and over again. For gift cards, you just ignore the color fields because they've not got a color associated with them. And as I mentioned down here in the product settings, you've got you would pick a variant title drop down for a gift card, and then you can change the drop down placeholder in here. Back to what I was saying before. So price.
Sorry, when you said the drop down placeholder, that the text there that you're hovering on.
Yeah.
Oh, can we edit that?
Yes. Yes.
Ah, that's good.
For products, if you pick a prescription product, so I'll actually update this to a prescription one for now. That's fixed because the prescription product, the drop downs for prescription are quite associated with what's in code. So select your lenses, and currently just select your reader strength. Those you aren't able to customize, but for something like a gift card, if you were to just have a drop down of different variants, even a cleaning cloth, if it's got different sizes, I don't know exactly what accessories you've got, but yeah, you can customize the drop down text for pure drop down products. Yeah. Again, so back to what was in code. So price is in code, and anything that would appear here mostly is in code. So like I said, the prescription drop downs we've got here, we've got a sort of usage, which we are going to update the values in here based on what you've given us, Cara. So we've got some other like computing and things like that if you're using glasses for computers and stuff. And yeah, these are sort of tied into the Shopify sort of experience and how it comes back to the website in what we call post-purchase. It ties into prescriptions, things like that. Further down the page, so this Instagram feed is present on all product pages. And that's kind of fixed. It's in the template for product pages. So every product page will have just this Instagram feed, and this is coming directly from Instagram. You know, an editor's not populating this on the website. All these images and everything tied directly to Instagram. The only thing that an editor can do is there's a similar bit on the homepage that you can actually edit on other pages, but on the product page it's quite fixed and coded.
So we can't change any of that if we wanted to change the color of the background or like the styles by IOLLA text or anything like that. Like currently that's not editable on the product page.
Not editable on the product page, no. It's in Site Studio as a style. So at the moment that would be something that we'd want devs to only touch.
Okay.
I think that's the same for the homepage one as well. Coming down here, FAQs is also similarly templated into the page, so you don't have to pick it, you don't have to type all of this out, it's just given to you and put in the page for you. That's true of all product pages. And I think that's about it for what's code versus content. So everything else is populated.
Just that FAQ, Jake. The FAQ will be different for different types of product page. Obviously, we wouldn't say prescription FAQ stuff on a gift card, for example. So I'm not sure if we can update that when the product category or something is different. There's different FAQ.
Me and Debbie were chatting before actually, and I think at the very beginning, like when you cast our mind back months, but we'd said we'd do a couple of different product templates to cater for like prescription, non-prescription, that kind of thing. So we can make sure like we do a version that accommodates like a non-prescription FAQ page essentially.
Yeah, I don't believe that's in currently, so a gift card will have this currently. But yeah, that's definitely an option in the future. The last little point I wanted to go through was on the product lister page. It was referenced. What?
Jake, just before you move on to the product lister page, see for the product page, so when you're making a new product, you just make a full new page rather than like duplicating a page.
Yeah, I mean, there's options. For me, if you want an already pre-set up page almost and just change the wording, then yes, you could totally duplicate one.
How do you do that?
So I'll show you. So up here, if you go and search the content rather than add new, you can search. So I'll go back to our favorite example, which I don't know if you guys know this, but we've got a developer who's got a second name, Gregory, so that's why it's our favorite example. So we go to Gregory and there's an option down here called clone.
Okay.
So you can simply clone the page, and what this will do is it will, I've not seen this interface before, but yeah, it due to all of the sort of different paragraphs and things, I don't think I want to clone all of these actually. So most cases you probably won't tick any of these because you want to pick from a list rather than making, so this is basically asking me if I wanted to make a new term for the category and things like that, which I don't want to do.
Okay, so what would you select if it was like, yeah, do you just go past all of this then?
I think so. I've not seen this interface before. This is quite new, but I believe I would just ignore all of that and click clone. So what that's done is it's created a product called Gregory Cloned.
Okay.
I will note that it is published directly straight away, which is a bit of a poor thing, but the list of pages being handmade means that this won't show up in any content straight away. So you can go to this page and you've got all your content already, and you can just edit it and change it to sort of match the product things you want. So you can change the product name, go in and edit these, change the imagery, change all of this to match the product you've just made. And yeah, you've cloned a page that's almost ready to go and just needs to change the wording.
And you could just go on and see at the bottom left it has published ticked. You could just untick that.
Yeah, but what I was pointing out is that I cloned it and it was already published before I had a chance to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, someone could find this page on if they got to the URL, but the URL's got cloned in it. It's not going to be easy to find.
Yeah.
These list of pages are handmade, so it's not going to show up on one of these suddenly.
Yeah. Okay.
The other question I have about the product stuff. So when you're creating in Shopify, it seems as though you're not pulling content really from Shopify at all. So it's going to be a case of probably following the same process that we do, but maybe not putting like a description and things like that in Shopify. It's kind of pointless because it's not showing anywhere. But for our teams and in the showrooms, and also I think for the emails, I'm not sure. But like, for example, the image of the product pulls from that Shopify image for the email receipts and things. So I think we're probably best just kind of creating products as we do today in Shopify for kind of consistency, and then obviously just duplicating everything over into Site Studio. Is that the best thing you think?
When you mentioned about the product descriptions in Shopify not being populated, because our checkout is actually offsite on Shopify, that may affect what's shown on this page as well.
Right, okay, yeah. So like, for example, the variant ID. So we just want to make sure that they're identical, right? The product name, the variant name, all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so if I were to pick the wrong variant ID, you'd get a very weird experience of, I've just clicked buy on a product and a color here.
It says something different, yeah.
Different thing in your cart, so yeah. But yeah, the last bullet point I wanted to go through was product lister CMS versus what's in code, which ultimately is quite easy because most of this is content that a editor can control and make. So I'm sure Callum will go through a bit more of this, but for editors, you've got the page builder up here, the button right at the top of the page. It turns the entire thing into a sort of WordPressy page builder experience. And this being a product lister is a fully handmade content page. So you've got your hero, which an editor has made, and populates all this with the various components. So I'll actually show we've got a big set of components that you can use to create new pages. The main thing that differentiates a product lister page versus any other page that you've created is the use of a product lister component. So if I were to just drag and drop a product lister in, this now would become a product lister page because I can start adding more stuff to it. So I can start adding product cards in here and sort of building out this page, as you can see below. I'm not going to do that to this one right now, but
so we basically like create a new page and then just add that product lister component essentially.
yes. So in this case, we've got the product lister, and for the background and the way we've done that grid, we simply chose a background color of gray 10, which is a preset of colors you can pick from. And then you drag and drop, as I showed there, you've got your product cards, and you just drag and drop product cards in and pick which product it is. So I'll actually show you that experience as well.
So again, I take it it's configurable in terms of like how many columns and rows and stuff we want as well.
I think it's fixed at 4 columns, and so if you don't have 4 products, it'll show, I think it'll just show like this essentially and carry on as if there's 4. I don't think you can customize that directly on the fly, but it's a bit flexible, so you can see even as I move things around. It's a difficult one to drag, the big one, but if I add more in, it does automatically sort of slide things along.
I think for the lister we'd always have 4 anyway with me.
But editing a product, you're picking one. So it's wonderful. So same thing again as before, where you start typing in the title of the product, and you can just pick from it to pick it as one of these. We've got the fields for your stylist pick, and the color of that piece of text is these 2 here as well.
And see the color, see within there you've got like the selection of colors.
Yeah.
Is it possible just to get rid of non-branded colors for us?
Yeah, so I think we created all of these from a style sheet that we had originally. Depending on what's in use currently on the website, we might be able to just remove a lot of them.
Okay.
The other option, even as an editor, you can go in and actually just make your own color on the
Okay,
fly.
great.
So you don't actually have to pick from one of these. You can just type in the hash color. But so we do have like the common branded colors and then some other common colors. So things like white are used quite often, even though it's not a brand color, it's used everywhere, and black. But a lot of these should be your sort of brand colors.
That's good though. So in that picker, if we've got the hex code, we can add.
Yes, you can just custom
Ah, I
pick.
didn't know that.
You can also pick the opacity of it, so you can make it 50% opacity. I wanted to show on this page as well. So I'll just exit and don't save anything I've done there. The search button here is optional, so an editor would actually place this button on the page. So if an editor hasn't put that, it wouldn't show up here. So that's one of the things an editor can add. And it's a component in the sidebar again, so it's just something you can drag to any page. Is a search button. So even your already existing pages, your homepage, you could add one of these search buttons if you really wanted. We are going to add this. I think we spoke about this before, Cara. We're going to add more fields to this and more options, so you can actually use it in different contexts rather than quite specific this use context. But what's that button, regardless of where you put it, if you put one of those buttons in and change the text, it will open up the search overlay on any page.
And so I see when you just added the product page, the product card there, and to make it a feature, to make it a bigger one, was that just like the tag that was like on and off?
Yes, it was. So if I wanted to make this Giles a featured one, I can just edit the actual thing, and there's a toggle on and off.
Okay.
Pick on, apply, and it should try and update immediately. So yeah. Obviously, layout wise, you're gonna have gaps if I just do random ones like that, but yeah, it's something you can solve by.
And in terms of kind of automating what is in that collection, it's not really possible to do that again. So if it's got a tag of like glasses rather than sunglasses, you know, that can't auto populate. It's
Not
just that
currently.
again. Okay.
It's something we can do. There's a system for it in Drupal. The main reason we haven't done it in this case is because things like this stylist pick showing up and which ones are featured and bigger was something the editors wanted control of, as well as these little sort of piece of content in the middle. If we were to automate it, it would be very difficult to be able to throw these in random grid spots, if you know what I mean. So as soon as we saw the designs with things like this in these pieces of text, we just immediately saw to put it as a handmade piece of content.
Okay.
And so how do you add the text ones? You're probably just going to go on to that, but that's...
So same again, just edit on a product card. There is a overlay text field here. So as soon as you put something in, I don't know what's going on with Site Studio right now. I've not seen that before, but if you put a piece of text in to this overlay field, it will show up. So and pick a color, obviously. So because some of the designers have got random colors for these, we just let you customize the color rather than it being a fixed one. So I've just put overlay text and picked orange, and it's gone there. So it's opt-in rather than something that you do on a product. You just on the display here, you would choose which ones have it. And that also works for our featured ones as well. Well, yeah, I think Callum is probably going to show a bit more of that drag and drop interface than me. He's used it a bit more than me for something like the standard page that's coming up. But I think that's everything from me now.
Is there any kind of other questions on what Jake's just gone through? No?
That was really useful. I certainly learned a few things.
Okay, cool. So, Callum, where would you like to start? Maybe creating the standard page and then.
Yeah, I can do that, or show how to add the video. That's at the top of the list.
Okay, yeah, let's start that.
Yeah, and also like worth pointing out, a lot of what me and Jake are going over, I've written up in like a bit of a guide, so you can just go through that if you have any issues.
Okay.
Can you see that all right? Okay, so for adding videos to Hero, I'll use the drag and drop feature. So when we edit the Hero component, there's a video URL in here. It does need to be a Vimeo link from a premium account or business pro, whatever, at this current time. So if you just add this in here, it'll load in your video. You will need to remove background image though. If you apply that, you've got your video. Don't know if there's anything else on that, but that's basically just how you add in a video there.
I think just as a general point as well, like as we were saying about the icons, the same for like the hero images and that kind of thing. I think just a bit of guidance, not right now, like when we do the documentation and stuff, like on like focal points and just like the certain kinds of optimal sizes and that kind of thing. Because I think that's one of the things I've definitely been struggling with, is trying to get the images to like resize and look good.
Yeah, we'll have a discussion about that, and then I'll add those to the sort of documentation, so you've always got them to refer to. Okay.
One of the things just while we're on the carousel as well, like so yeah, like so that kind of text blocks there, like how easy it is it's kind of move that. So the better way to buy eyewear, and like if we want to like drag it to the left and that kind of thing, like that's one of the things I couldn't work out either, was how to kind of move.
So we have there's these settings here, so we can have text centered, which will move it to the center, and we have text right. I'll put over here on the right. That's as much as customization as you can really do with that.
Right, so they're kind of fixed in the sense that you've got like maybe like 3 or 4 categories that are at fixed sizes, and we can just kind of move between them.
Yeah. Anything else on carousel?
The only thing, Chris can say, I was just going to say just something which I think is through everything, is see that button currently, the color of it is just that old color we just want to completely remove from the site at all, so it can't even be used as an option. Just if that was possible to do that.
Yeah. I think the only reason we haven't moved them yet is because if a color's in use, it's a bit of a nightmare to remove. So we'll have to go around the site, remove every instance it's been used in before we can actually remove it from the site. But that can be done.
Okay, great. Me and Kirsty were chatting on Friday actually, so we're going to update the guys on button behaviour, because we noticed some change colour when you hover, some are like transparent. So I think we're going to catch up there. We're going to. I kind of mentioned to you, Debbie, as well, I think very briefly, but yeah, we noticed like some change colour when you hover, some are transparent. So we're going to decide like final kind of button states and behaviour and share that with you guys. And then yeah, as Clara said, we can maybe just delete the ones we're not using.
Yep, that sounds good.
See as well for Callum, the reviews, have you just input that there as a, is that just being like pulled in as like as a style from reviews?
At the minute, this is just like we've created a component for the reviews, and that's just something we've added to the. So Hero has a drop zone, so it's either left, right, or center, and we've just added, there was a viewing like that, and that uses like that styling comes from your review thing that you use. We haven't started that.
Oh, right, okay, so that was a feature where you could get rid of the background.
Yeah, so I've removed the background on that, I think. Yeah, so you can add background color in here. If you want to have a background on it, then you would just.
Further down the page, it's like the widget where we're kind of tied to whatever it is on the views, but up there, yeah, we can, because we were playing about it, me and Chris were playing about the background colour of the widget.
Yeah, so if you want a background on, you just.
Make it look transparent.
That's great.
Okay, there's nothing else I can move on to building out this. Just a quick mock-up of how to make something like this. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we want to add content and page. Just give it a name. Let's do gift shop. You won't really need to worry about these, I wouldn't think. And I'll do it all just drag and drop instead of doing it here. So
Is that kind of the option essentially? You got the drag and drop option, then you've obviously got the build it all in the kind of that kind of back CMS page. And which do you prefer? Which do you find more?
Personally, I
faster,
prefer the back CMS bit just because I'm not
You know
a fan of
what
dragging
each
and dropping
layout
like
is
on
and
this
stuff.
screen, but I'll show
Okay.
you how to use this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no worries.
I think the main difference is this one in the actual page actually renders the content in. So like, as you're
You can see it.
it's a bit slower. So if you're very used to what you're doing, you can do it in the other one, and it doesn't have to
Yeah.
take time.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay. So like the way this is set up, it's got the pad on either side here, which is like set a box width. So to get that, I will add in a one column layout. We'll just call this. So what's up with this? Every time I click on a field, it disappears. Strange. There's your box width. You can choose how much padding's at the top of the page. So like between here and here. Set this to medium. Apply. Right, and then first thing we've got is a image title. We would from here grab the image field, drop this in, edit component. Then this is where you would just choose from your image library. I haven't got any of these uploaded yet, so add in the festive gift shop title, give it a alt text name, which is just if the image isn't there, this is what will show, but the image should be there. And insert, make it large, like that. Okay. Full space available. Should stop it taking over. Okay. I don't know why it's deciding to take over the whole world with that. Honestly, I don't usually build it in this bit, so just trying this out. Brilliant.
Because we're all watching you as well, it just won't do what
Yeah.
Was that
Also,
Christine?
what I should mention is you need to save things before you switch between tabs. Quickly we add these in. There we go. Right, so we've got our image title in there. Okay, so this next bit here is this is a text and image layout. So drop this in. Really just doesn't want to play ball. I might have to do this, build the page out in here, and then show you how you can edit from because it's not working. Okay.
So this version that you're doing right now, is this the same, but you just can't visually see it?
Yeah, so it's practically pretty much the same. You still choose your components, you just drag them in.
Okay.
That's what I'm used to using.
Yeah, if you just show us that way, that's quite easy to follow, I think.
Yeah, but again, all this I'll have like a written up version of setting up this page, so you just have something to go off. So we have the background. There's a blue. We have an image, which should check first. And we want the image to be on the right. So you can either, for this section, either choose the image displayed on the left or the right, and then the text to be on the opposing side. So these text and image layouts, you have a drop zone. So for the site the image isn't shown on, this is where you would drop in your subtitle, text, and button. So we'll put in a heading, a text, and button. Put this.
This is much better than what we've done.
You can select your heading size here as well. So H1s all the way up to H6s, and they'll all display different sizes. Okay, this is a H2 for now. And the fonts will be locked to whatever. Well, I went through that font guide you sent over and we've set all them up now.
That's great.
This is into here. You do have like a couple of settings you can do. So you can add a background to the text area. You can change if you want dark text is black, light text is white. Borders, pattern, so you can move it up and down how you want it to show on the page. And then buttons. It shouldn't matter if you type in the buttons all in lowercase font, because the styling that's applied will make them show all capitalized. You choose your button styles here. So you've got your primaries. These are all where it's the initial colors are solid blue, dark blue, green, orange. And your secondaries where it's the white background with the colored border. And then when you hover, it switches to the solid color. Just use the blue. You put your link in here. The page doesn't exist, and if you want to add multiple buttons, you can, but it's not really necessary for this part. Save. Just back. So obviously, it still needs some styling applying to this, just from like in here to make this look right. Start with this. Well, text, center align the text, move it straight over like that. One white as well. Light heading. Then again here, light text. Not sure how we center align this. I might need to add a different field.
If you edit the text area itself, there's alignment controls on the WYSIWYG.
All right, and then yeah, so this needs to be a secondary blue and align button center. Yeah, okay, so like so. I think we need to add some pattern to It's been so long since I've been on this. Text column. Okay, so if we use a column layout and put all of our bits and pieces in there and save, it still doesn't work. Any ideas, Jay?
Instead of one call the way you did them, maybe a container. I don't know, containers like let you do the left and right padding as an option.
As in these ones.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want like sort of a bit more customization on the layout of things internally, you basically have to add wrappers around the bits of text and content you want. So in this case, is using a container, and a container has these two drop downs that it's just used here, which is padding left and right, padding up and top and bottom, which lets you put spacing on the sides and at the top and bottom to help you align stuff. And you can change that per breakpoint as well. So different for mobile versus desktop.
Well, it's definitely getting there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that after and find out how exactly we do that one. Oh, we've done it on the home page. So
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones I was struggling with as well, like just building the homepage with, because you can't drag and drop the kind of positioning of the text exactly, just trying to get it all laid out and stuff. So any kind of advice on that when you come to write it up would be useful.
Yeah, I think Paul set up a lot of the main pages, so I'll take a look at all the stuff he's done, and again, we'll get it written up for individual sections like this. So next on here we have like an image with a button. So if we use a 2-column layout here, you have a drop zone on either side. We can go with an image field and a button. Once I go 1 column. The images might not line up with the buttons just for this demo because I can't see the icons are so small. Okay. Duplicate these purely for ease. So this is where the drag and drop just doesn't want to play ball again. Okay.
Undo.
Yeah.
If that layer 2 column.
Yeah, I've got it inside of.
Inside.
So we've got our 4 bits in there. We just need a fix a pattern at the top and bottom of these and align our buttons. So we will do them. Yes. I think it's one of those things that once you get a hang of it, it can be lovely and simple.
Yeah, and I'm sure like we'll probably duplicate a lot of pages as well, I think, especially campaign pages.
Yeah, like yeah.
So with those CTAs, would you expect them to transform uppercase? Is that what you were saying?
I think it depends on the setting that's on them.
Okay.
I'll have to have a look at the, because we've got them, all the styling applied to them, but I'll have to double check a couple of things. So for these, we'll just remove the padding. That'll be best. I would say when building pages out as well, if you've got like sections like this, it'll be best to duplicate everything to your setup, and then you can just simply, if you want to change this image, you just edit components, browse. Yeah. And if you want to edit your button, click on. If you'd like a different style of button here, we can just switch to a dark blue one. Yeah, another thing that I left a note on the spreadsheet the other day was about buttons depending on, like, they will size difference because the size depending on the text inside.
Yeah, I think we chatted about that the other day actually. So I think we were going to suggest making them all the same size or a minimum width based on like whatever our biggest, I guess, festive gift cards might be, like the biggest button, and then we'll just see how it looks.
Yeah, as long as you're not putting like full sentences in buttons, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I think that would look better than having different button sizes. So
Yeah, I think browse our collection could be a longest.
yeah,
But we might even decide to shorten that.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
think that would be the longest word thing. Browse our full clip.
No, one word. Browse.
Click this button to browse our full clip.
Please.
So next, yeah, so we've just got another one of these, but reversed. So again, for ease, I would just say for ease, it's going to be a nightmare. Try it. Like so, and then you just go on, switch out your heading. As you play around with it, you'll find out like what you're best comfortable with doing different ways of things.
Yeah, I imagine doing like page layouts and all the columns and stuff that you'll need is way easier in this format than going to the visual one to start filling it in.
Yeah.
Like Callum saying, he's happier with this one. I am the same. I personally like this one more because we're used to not having a drag and drop at all. We're used to the Drupal where you just edit a page and it's all fields.
Yeah, I think this looks easier rather than the visual one.
I think the other one's definitely easy if you just want to do like quickly edit some text on a page if you're not sure whereabouts to look. Because once you start building the page out, you just get a lot of elements in here. So once the page is built out, if you just want to quickly update text or a button, it's probably easier to do in the page builder. And then to switch the image over, we use image on left. And we want to change our background. And so again, these are the kind of fields where the more text you have here or just within this, it'll make these bigger and smaller. Yeah, so another one of these is just going to be.
I'm just thinking for time. Do we?
A lot of this is going to be duplicating just
Okay.
the page, to be fair. But uncover the, so at the bottom we have a video.
So those product images, are those just images with a button rather than an actual product?
Yeah, these are just images with a button.
Okay.
Because I've seen on here that these aren't clickable.
Yeah.
So it's you only need the button to be clickable. So yeah, we've just used, well, also used here is just an image with a button inside of a 1-column layout. I think the product card has required fields like title, which would then, it would mean you'd be required to have a title underneath the image.
Okay.
And so these video ones, I think it requires a URL. Yeah, so since the video on this page is just taken from YouTube, you could literally just upload the YouTube URL. And save that.
Again, there if we wanted to do, because I think we use Vimeo, so it would just be like the premium.
Yeah, you would just use your Vimeo link there instead of either or.
I guess for consistency as well, so that all the same play buttons and things like that.
Yeah.
Having them all from Vimeo would be the nicest thing.
And then you just have your videos like that. And again, just if you want to add padding to this, you would need to stick it in a container and add top and bottom paddings.
And like in terms of making that, so the one above the video, the banner above that, like I think on the main site it's deeper, but it would expand based on the text basically. So we just need to maybe space the kinds of header, main body and CTA out a little bit to make the whole thing deeper.
Yeah, like you could just add a bit of padding at the top and bottom here, or add more text, padding above the text. Just try and pad it out as much as you want to get to the required size.
And see with this video, so we normally have it so that it like auto plays, so we don't really like the play buttons or anything like that. But in the past, we've just like lifted code to enable that. Do you think that's something we would just do?
I guess that's
It depends on
YouTube.
how you do it. So in a YouTube case, you've got Vimeo here. We would prefer not to have autoplay like as a standard in web development. Like autoplay is shunned a little bit.
Why is that?
It's mainly like, so say you're on a mobile on data and you just suddenly access a website, it's loading a video, it's loading, it could be megabytes, could be, quite a few megabytes for some videos.
Is there a way for the video feature just to work in the same way that our homepage video banner does?
Where it's just a link, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can get autoplay, but I don't know whether we've put it in as a part of the component. A lot of this is from Site Studio base components, the video component.
Yeah, this video ones, we haven't altered at all. This is a standard.
Yeah, I think what Kirsty means is in the homepage, so the Vimeo one autoplays, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That would make, yeah.
Can you like duplicate that from the homepage onto a campaign page?
Yeah, so it's maybe just because we're using use YouTube there instead of Vimeo, maybe.
Try the Vimeo link.
So if you even, I guess, could try and put the video that's on the homepage banner into that section just to see how it would transform into a page like that.
Yeah. For I think heroes we would have autoplay on, because you can have like sort of just color backgrounds that are animated rather than a proper video. Especially as well, videos with sound. That's one issue with autoplay. Having videos with sound, I know I hate it when I load up a page and suddenly hear.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that.
Yeah, I'm sure for the video component specifically, I'm sure there's an option somewhere that we could have as a developer to turn it on, but I would suggest not to personally, but that's if you want it, then.
Yeah, we might have to take a look at this as well, because it doesn't seem to be accepting the Vimeo link here.
Yeah, it could just be the video ID somewhere. Add video by don't know actually. I've not used that one.
We can use that thing. What we want to do for videos.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be good to have a more. I get, you know, that's obviously on YouTube because that's what we use currently, so that's why that current festive video is held on YouTube. But I think video as a feature, and I get your point about sound and things like that. That's all in like the design, but just from a like purely functionality point of view, it'd be good to have like a video feature, just in the same way it works on the homepage banner, I guess, that we could add to these kind of like campaign pages so that it would kind of work in the same way.
Yeah.
Love that. Cool. What was next on this page, Callum? We need to come back to the videos.
Most after that, it was a lot of just these, which you would set up the same way you set up these, but switch out the names for the images, and then
And are we able to add the product lister component into this page? So it's not to, I know you've built the products in the same way we've got the page built currently, but that's really just because our capability just now is like a bit more limited. So
you could add a product lister in here if you wanted to.
And that would just pull across the full image and full price and things.
Yeah. So
Yeah, there's a couple. We've got the product lister is mainly the big foregrid that's on the list of pages. There's also a product slider that you can add in individual pages. I think the homepage currently on the website does have a product slider, which is a little carousel of products.
So they would come across like that if you put them in from the product lister.
Yep.
So it would still adopt the 4 in a row, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be able to do like a 2x2 unless you did the larger sizes.
Yeah, you'd have to set 2 of them, but then it would take up. Guess all we can do is try. Just these might get a bit big. Actually, that's not outrageous. So you could have the products displayed like this using the product lister, and then they would just.
Yeah, so if we did the product lister, it'd either need to be 4 small tiles in a row or 2 featured ones.
Like two featured ones don't look too dissimilar to how we'd set it up here.
And that's the only way we'd be able to make the images clickable, is making it like a product lister, or would we be able to make like the images clickable rather than having a CTA like the current site?
I think as it stands, we'd have to do it this way for the images to be clickable, because there's no field on the image product, the image component to do that. I don't think.
Do you want to quickly show the a carousel as well? Because that might be a nice option for to be able to display products.
Yeah. Let me just double check out it's on the home page. Okay, so we have it set up. We have a slide hero with a slide item. And then,
Yeah, it's further down. There's a component called product slider.
all right.
It lets you drop cards into it and it just generates a carousel. It's similar to the product lister, but it's rather than it being a 4-column, it's,
Can we use product cards inside of it?
I don't think so. Actually, on the homepage, it's not. It's just on its own from the looks of it, actually.
Right, let's go product cards inside. I'm sure you'll have lots of fun with this drag and drop. Okay, so that should accept that. This is how we have it set up on the home page anyway. So we have the product slider with each referenced product in here.
Yeah,
this
I would highlight the slider itself on the homepage, but yeah.
And this
I-
displays the products like this. So it's
And yeah, so if we don't want the 4 in a row or the 2 bigger ones, we could just add a slider with maybe like 3
yeah,
product
or
cards,
2.
and they would be clickable and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite a good way around it.
Cool. Just conscious of time. Is there any questions on kind of setting up a page like that?
I think it's, we said, just some guidance on like resizing images and like just the layout of text and stuff as well, and the documentation and like image format and that kind, like just optimal kinds of image format and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we make sure we're making it as easy as possible for ourselves.
Okay. Cool. And then I think what we had left on the list was embedding URLs.
Yeah. So just as we were chatting about this morning, Debbie, I think specifically like the Instagram tool, like we're looking at switching that out. So just really understanding, is that like, if it's just an embed URL, is that something we can replace or we need you guys to do it? And then like I was saying as well, on the current site, the guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the reviews page and the student discount page are kind of embedded widgets. So again, when we're building those pages, can we just add the embed URL, or is that something we need to get you guys to do?
Who wants to take that one out of Jake and
I'm
Colin?
not sure on that one.
Yeah, so I think the best way currently, and it's actually kind of a coincidence that we can do it, is via blocks. So the way how you've got your promo header that we've built, you can populate that. The same thing can be used to embed HTML and snippets of code from various things. So you can create a block, which is another stay in Drupal, and then use that as a component and place that on the page. So basically, like you would do your promo header, you create it as a custom thing that you'd have, potentially Kieran or someone like that build it for you, or paste it in from the tool. And then you can just drag and drop it in a page. So there's one of the components inside Site Studio on that left-hand bar. Whenever you edit in a page, is Drupal block, and you can just pick from a list of blocks any of those. So if you create multiple blocks that've got like your different Instagram embed code or something like that, you should be able to do it that way. I think that's probably the best way, easiest way. Otherwise, you could try and do it like you can basically add a text area to a piece of content and paste and embed code into that. Now, when you add in a text area, there's a little drop down on the bottom left, which is the format. If you're embedding code, you'd have to change that format because it would strip code out of it otherwise. That's how we do the promo bar as well.
And what do you change the format to?
There's one called raw HTML, and that would stop it stripping code. So you can actually put, HTML, so it'd be a script tag most of the cases. If you get an embed tool from somewhere to paste in, it would be a script tag, I imagine, and then a little bit of HTML, so maybe a div ID something. If you pick raw HTML, it'll stop. It won't get rid of that. It'll just render that to the page. I will caveat it's possible to make your page sort of break a little bit if you don't use correct HTML, but that's why if you copy and paste it from somewhere, it should be good, or if you at least have someone look at it. Yeah, it should be easy. From the admin interface, you should be able to get rid of anything that's broken anyway.
Okay, that's good.
I think, as we said, a lot of this will be like trial and error as we go to like build out the pages. Yeah, we'll just get into practice, and hopefully we won't be bothering you guys too much.
Yeah, I think like you're saying, it's just going to be having like a little play around and getting used to it yourselves and things, which, yeah, but I'm sure soon you'll all be better than us at it.
That was a great start. Thanks very much for doing that with us.
No worries. Yeah, was there any kind of other questions, or did we kind of talk about what's code versus what's CMS enough, or do you have any kind of other questions? Or
just a quick question for me. Sorry, I should have probably asked you when you were demoing, but you don't need to show me. But is there a place to view the site on different devices? So like to view it on mobile when you're building a page, is there like a quick switch button or something to do that?
So we would use browser stacks. It seems to be kind of the most accurate in terms of reflecting what the real devices are. I think that's a paid service though. Or I think maybe quick reference, it would just be like the inspect within.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so for proper device testing, if there's like mobile phone issues, so the phone operating system, the phone browsers are different, so there can be issues with that itself. That's where you'd use something like Browser Stack or a real physical device. For general day-to-day, just making sure it looks all right in terms of layout, you can just resize your window in Chrome and that should be fine. And you should be able to do that while in the page builder screen as well. I'm not sure.
That's what I was about to say. Like some of the sometimes when you're logged in page builder, like the layout's a wee bit funny as well. So like I can't often check it in like incognito. Like it's just to do with like once you're logged in, you've got all the kind of toolbars at the top and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, that is it's an issue because we've got things that would be relative to the header, but now there's also a toolbar, so there's going to be things that get annoying with that. But yeah, I personally do. I always look at incognito when I'm.
Put it in incognito, it'll look okay. Yeah.
And see, sorry, just the example of the campaign page, is it just the same again at the bottom where you like tick published, like unpublished? It's just like the same thing.
Yeah, so the moderation system in Drupal I've been confused by it before and burned by it a little bit. So you can, if you create a new page and save it as draft, it's not publicly visible. So if you're not logged in, you can't see that page. If you tick published, or there's a drop down for draft, published and archived. If it's published at any point, it's then publicly visible. If you then create a draft after you've published a page, it doesn't hide the page for everyone. It just doesn't, the changes you make are on top of it and not visible. So to completely get a page hidden from public, you would have to archive it first.
Okay.
That's
scary.
Yeah, it's very confusing. As an editor, it looks like the page has been updated, and if you've got a draft on top of it, it's not the same. So I actually share content. Most content types will have a drop down instead of a checkbox.
Okay.
Draft, published, and archived. So this is the homepage I'm on right now. I've not made any changes, but if I were to come in and make some drastic change, drag a hero component right to the top, but if I were to save it as a draft, I've not like hidden the page for everyone. I've just added a hero in draft. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can start working on updates to a page and not have it visible to everyone. And if you look at the top right here, it says draft, so you know that it's not published. But if I were to click view, on here instead of latest. So there's latest and view, and I can see the published version versus the draft version.
Yeah, and as soon as you change that draft version to publish, then that's when it's live.
Yeah, so you can do it in the edit screen, or there's actually a thing over here to publish.
Okay, and can everyone see that page who's editing? So like, for example, if like within our team, like 2 people were working on the same page, are you all working from the same draft?
I would advise not to both be working on the same page, because if one saves it while the other's still working, the second
It
person
overwrites.
can't save it. The way our Drupal is, it's fixed revision. So there's a tab called revisions. As soon as someone saves it, it makes a new revision, and every edit has to go from the latest revision. You can't like have simultaneous revisions going on.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
So yeah, if someone else saves it while you're working on it, it will not let you save the page, which means you've lost all your work.
But if you, do you mean if you were drafting a page and you didn't want to like publish it, but you wanted like Kirsty to see it before it was published?
Yeah, you can save one as draft, and that's fine. But if you are actively making changes to a page as someone else is, one of you is going to lose out at some point.
But if Clara made a draft and saved it, then any of us could log in and see her draft before it's published.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I kind of showed that there, but if I added a hero up here. If I actually delete it, save that deletion as a draft, where you've got your tabs at the top on the page itself, there's a new one called latest version. So for a logged in user, latest version is the current draft. So the latest work that's not publicly visible. Whereas if everything's published, it just has view, and view is just the page. But if I click on view now, this is the published version that's not the draft. So this is what public users are seeing. Whereas as an editor, I can go and see what edits have been made pending.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. So we're going over a little bit of time, but we can leave it there, and then I guess if there is any kind of other questions, we can set up another call or.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I think that really helpful anyway, because I think some of the stuff I've been struggling with, like that really helps. As I said, I'm sure as we go and build out these pages, we'll have more questions, but I think that's a really good start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks very much for taking us through that, guys.
And well timed, guys. We're only like 5 minutes over.
Is that unusual?
No, but I just think we've so much to get through. I was saying to Debbie this morning, I was like, we're never going to get through this in 20 minutes. So well done.
I'm surprised we didn't.